John O'Donnell from Athletes in Action. He's got Paralympics on his mind. He joins us on the show. Kia ora, Jono.
Kia ora, Andrew. How you doing?
Yeah, doing very well indeed. The Olympics, of course, the biggest sporting event in the world. I was surprised to hear the other day Paralympics get the bronze medal on this one. This is quite a big deal, really, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, the Olympics was incredible, and I was tuned in day and night, watching every moment I could, and it ended, and I think like most people, I sort of forgot, but I've been really encouraged by the Paralympics coming along next, and just this week I've been diving in a little bit. TVNZ's actually got some really good coverage of it, free to air for anyone to view, and it's incredible watching these athletes compete. You know, we saw Olympians at the top of their game doing incredible things.
Yeah.
And as I've tuned in to watch the Paralympics, I'm actually just thinking the same thing. Man, these guys are doing incredible feats of sporting genius, and they're actually coming from a lot more of a challenged place than most of us.
The thing I love about Paralympics is everyone's got a story. Everybody's got an overcomer tale of, hey, this was happening in my life and then that happened, or there was a disability that I was born with. There's something that for a lot of people, they go, oh gosh, this awful thing happened in my life. They've just sort of taken that on the chin and saying, you know what, I'm getting on with it anyway. I'm going to be the best in the world at this particular event. A lot of resilience on display in Paris at the moment.
Yeah, phenomenal resilience, perseverance. These athletes are training just as hard as any other athlete, and like you said, there's a story. Whether maybe they're born that way or they had an accident, but actually moving on from that. And I was chatting to a friend about the Paralympics. He was saying that I got to fact check this myself still, but part of it originally starting was just around veterans, war veterans. Okay. And giving, positivity, something to compete and go after. So pretty cool history as well with the games.
It was kind of the OG Invictus in some ways, but then became a thing in itself. In terms of Athletes in Action, you guys have got a bit of a direct connection with one of the athletes competing at Paris?
Yeah, really, it's been really exciting for us. So there's an athlete, Will Stedman, and he's a long jumper and a runner. So he's competed already in the long jump, just missed the medals by 2 centimeters.
Wow.
And he actually got a silver medal in the 400, which he was the reigning world champ. So really cool to see him do really well. And tonight, actually, if you want to tune in tonight, he's racing. I think around 6:20 is the prelims, and the 6:22 is the heats, and 8:43 is the finals. So really excited to see him go over the 100 meter. And yeah, we got a bit of a connection. He's involved with our ministry in Christchurch.
Okay.
And what has been really cool, and I think this sums up where these athletes are at, is over the last 3 months, Will's actually he's been all over the world competing. He was in Tokyo for the world champs. He was in France for some other competitions, and he's been sending in some prayer highlights. And so as athletes in Christchurch have been gathering together, student athletes and professional athletes, we've been praying for him.
Wow.
Praying for the things going on in his life. And I think the things he's praying for, they, to me, reflect where he's at, which I just find so cool, is that he's not praying for the medals or those sort of things, but actually that he wouldn't be defined by his performance, and that prayer that his identity would be found in Christ. He's away, these athletes, he's sharing it's hard to be away from home. It's hard to be away from his church family. But as he's sending these prayer requests, actually, we've been able to encourage him and support him as he competes. So, yeah, really cool. And always fun to have someone you're connected with in the race and being able to cheer them on. So that was a lot of fun to cheer him on.
No, very good indeed. I mean, he's a guy that's winning at life regardless of what happens on the sports field in that regard. And getting that attitude right, but still, I mean, a fierce competitor, but getting that attitude right and having the spiritual priorities, what a difference that makes, right?
Yeah, and you even saw it. So I was watched him compete, and then just before his race, there was a feature interview that TVNZ had done with him, and he talked about wanting to compete to the best of his ability, and that was enough. And as it came back to the TVNZ, the hosts, Scotty Stevenson, he actually just said, this was his words, "That's an impressive man. That guy has really got his head screwed on right." And I think Will has a really healthy perspective, that he's not defined by his disabilities.
Mm-hmm.
He's not defined by his performance. He's not defined by the things he achieves, but he's striving to let Christ be the thing that defines him. And then actually he's going to go after those things and really work hard and try to win.
Yeah.
So awesome to see.
Just wanted to pick up on one of the things you said there, because yes, it is the Paralympics. In order to qualify for the Paralympics, there has to be some type of obstacle for you competing at the same rate as somebody who does not have a disability. And there's all sorts of formula to work out who's in what race against what other people, and a complex system which I totally don't understand. But I love the fact that when it comes down to the events, the disabilities disappear. It's not about the handicaps or the things that have gone wrong in their life. And I think it just gives such a powerful message that the way in which the world measures people's value kind of disappears at the Paralympics. That these people are made in the image of God. They are loved. They have abilities. The disability doesn't define them, even though it's kind of a definition of the reason why the games are happening. That gets pushed to one side, and you've just got people giving it their all.
Yeah, and I've noticed that even I was watching some of the blind athletics. So actually, I just a little bit of research. There's 10 different disability categories.
Yep.
And so when you see T36 or each of those has a different sort of meaning. Mm-hmm. And the idea is that all of the events, they want competitiveness and they want to give as much sort of equality within the categories as they can. So that's sort of how they do the classifications. But like I said, I was watching the blind sprints, and they have a guide that runs with them. Yeah. And man, they run quick, these guys that are blind. It's just phenomenal to watch. Yeah. I was thoroughly just impressed. But you just saw the guide that runs with them. They have a tether that they hold, and they sprint together. Yep. And man, the joy on this guide's face as his teammate who can't see has won a medal. There's just a real sense of camaraderie, of positivity, of competitiveness. It's raw competition, determination, and phenomenal to see. And one thing you just mentioned that I'd love to pick up on is this idea that, and this is sort of a topic that we talk about with athletes, is that we are created for a purpose and we are made in God's image. Yeah. And that applies to all of these athletes as well. So I just loved hearing you say that, actually.
Yeah, no, that regardless of the way in which the world sees us, if we can frame it through the way in which God sees us, that's very much a game changer, whatever game you're playing. I also think that the way in which there is an allowance for people who have different challenges in life, there's a wonderful picture of grace in that regard. There's some obstacles that people are facing, but there's no sympathy in that. There's no pity in that. It's just an acknowledgement of grace to allow people to give it all they've got in a way which is fair and reasonable, not looking down on them at all, but lifting them up and celebrating the abilities that they've got.
Yeah, and that's the whole ethos of the Paralympics, is actually, I think, is just celebrating these athletes. So phenomenal to see. And the competition, man, I just tuned in. It was the round of 16, women's archery, 70 meters, these two ladies going at it. I've never watched anything remotely like this in my life. Yeah. I just got sucked into the competition. These athletes are phenomenal, and they're doing incredible things. And so I just encourage anyone listening, like I said, TVNZ's got the free coverage. Like, tune in, have a look, see what they're doing. And one thing I'm really looking forward to, I'm not sure when it is, I need to find out, is Murder Ball
Wow.
or that's what they call the chair rugby, because it is intense. So I was watching some highlights with my dad last night. I'm looking forward to seeing when the New Zealand team gets going, or just what that looks like.
Exactly.
Excited for that.
And maybe a better result than we're getting in South Africa at the moment. We've run out of time to go into that one. But hey, Jono, sounds like the weekend is sorted. A great weekend in sport at the Paralympics. Thanks so much as well for the work that you do at Athletes in Action. People can find out more at athletesinaction.org.nz. Jono, have a great weekend. Thanks for joining us. Hey, thanks very much for joining us in the Rhema studio. Thanks very much for watching the interview. It's kind of nice to have an audience, actually. And if you did like what you watched, then do give us a like, do give us the thumbs up. And if you'd like to see more interviews like that one, or perhaps even better, subscribe and those interviews will come straight to you. Don't forget to turn on your notifications, and we'll see you in the next one. Cheers.